about feeling guilty for spending money when so many people have nothing? The answer to this is a balance. Because my guilty conscience is going to ruin my life. And we are not put here that our lives should be ruined with guilt. And once you start having a habit of guilt, then you actually feel guilty about so much. Then it's not just these poor people or these hungry people. Then you start to feel guilty about everything. वो तो मेरा टीम के साथ ऑफिस में वो शायद मैं थोड़ा सा और कर सकती थी लेकिन इतना तो नहीं किया और करना चाहिए था. I should have helped people more. Now, it's beautiful to introspect, to reflect on how was I an instrument of love and peace and service? And how maybe could I have been a better instrument of love and peace and service? That's beautiful. It helps us grow. It helps tomorrow I will be a better instrument. But that guilty feeling eats us up inside. And so this is where at the end of every day, we offer to the divine the choices that we made, that were in alignment with being an instrument of love, an instrument of peace, an instrument of service, and those that were not. What Puja Swamiji calls our plus points and minus points. We offer them all to God so that we don't go to sleep feeling guilty. But that guilt is also a catalyst. Guilt should not be ignored because what guilt reminds us is I have a choice. आज मैंने इतने सारे रुपया खर्च किया बिना मतलब जब उसी रेस्टोरेंट के बाहर इतने लोग हैं जिनके पास कुछ भी नहीं है. Now, it doesn't mean never celebrate, never splurge. There's no teaching in our spirituality that says, do not enjoy your life. Everyone should be a sannyasi. कहीं ऐसे नहीं लिखा हुआ है. कोई नहीं कहते हैं शास्त्र में कि do not enjoy your life. Do not have nice things. But that guilt is a bit of you can think of it as like, we ring the bell, mandir jane se pehle. It's kind of like the bell ringing inside you that says ki, jo main abhi karne ja rahi hun, or jo maine abhi kiya tha. What I'm doing maybe isn't exactly right. Maybe I could make a better choice. And what you'll find interestingly is the joy that you get from spending your money on a nice restaurant, on nice new clothes, is very short-lived. थोड़ी देर के लिए आप enjoy करते हैं. But the joy that you get from taking that money and using it to feed others is so much more. You think कि चलो मेरे पास 1000 रुपया है, मान लीजिएगा. I could take that 1,000 rupees, or let's say 5,000 rupees. I've got 5,000 rupees. या मैं 5,000 रुपया एक 5-star hotel में जाके मेरे लिए और मेरे एक दोस्त के लिए भोजन, fancy dinner we have. Or I spend 100 rupees on my dinner someplace else, जहाँ पूरी एक बढ़िया सा थाली तो मिल जाएगा. And then I spend 4,900 rupees on thalis for 49 other people. और जो ढाबा जहाँ से मैंने अपनी 100 रुपये की थाली लिया, उसी ढाबा में I have bought food for all of these people lining on the streets. ढाबा वाले खुश हो गया, right? 50 लोगों को खाना खिलाया. All these people are happy. Now you think, how long is the happiness of your fancy meal going to last? And how long is the happiness of spending your evening feeding 49 other people? So that guilt, don't let it eat you up. Don't let it tell you you're a bad person. वो आपको कोई फायदा नहीं है. It's just harmful. But let that guilt be a little ringing of the bell inside कि क्या मेरा कोई option है? क्या कोई alternative है? क्या एक 5,000 शाल खरीदने के बजाय या 5 लाख शाल, 5 लाख रुपया मतलब की शाल खरीदने के बजाय I can buy a few $100 shawl. And then I can buy shawls for so many. Right? Though spirituality doesn't say don't have. It doesn't say deprive yourself. But it says if you've got this much money, whatever the amount is, whether you've got 5,000, 50,000, 5 lakhs, however much you have, rather than thinking, ठीक है, इतना है मेरा पास, what can I buy for myself with all this money? Think about, out of this money, how can I do something for myself also that I need or that I want, and serve all of these other people? And then you'll find that that happiness is actually so much deeper. And it lasts so much longer. How does seva, selfless service, help me to feel more fulfilled and free in my life? Many ways. There's a reason that seva is said to be one of the most direct, clearest, simplest paths to the divine. What seva does is it purifies our vision. Look, the divine is within us. The truth of who we are is within us. That love, that truth, that divinity, it is who we are. It's the core of who we are. And yet we can't see it, which is why we suffer. We suffer in ignorance of thinking that we're this body, we're these roles, we're these identities. Out of that ignorance comes anger and ego and lust and greed and all of that ends up leading us into deeper and deeper suffering. And that makes us bring suffering to others, right? If I'm suffering on the inside, what am I going to share? I'm going to share suffering. Seva is a purification of the mind. It's a purification of that awareness of ourself. And so, as we serve, our vision gets clearer. Because some of us think when we serve, oh, I'm the one who has so much and I'm serving those who don't. That we are the givers, they are the receivers, we are the philanthropists, etc. But real seva is not about us serving them. Real seva is the opportunity that others are giving us to see ourselves in them. So when we serve, it's not me serving you. It's not I have, you don't. So I'm giving. It's you are giving me the opportunity to experience the truth of who I am through you, through service of you. So that's where it cleans our windshield and it cleans our windows. Seva is the great purifier of our mind and of our ego. Also because, of course, it's not working for ourselves. Most of us are used to whatever we do, we're doing it for ourselves. Either to make money for ourselves, to make money for our children, to get myself higher and higher on a career ladder, on a social ladder, on a popularity ladder, on a beauty ladder, whatever it might be, to go higher and higher. In seva, we're not working for the self. We're working for others. And yet, beyond that is to not even see the others as others, but to see the others as an expansion of the self. When I do that, then my whole awareness of who I am shifts. And this is why a lot of places actually have seva tasks given as those that are the most humbling. In some cases they seem like the most demeaning. You're cleaning someone else's toilet. You're on your hands and knees scrubbing the floor. People with advanced degrees coming and literally cleaning poop, cleaning the floors, doing other sorts of manual labor. And that's done because there's no way around the humility that you experience, no matter who you may think you are, when you're cleaning someone else's toilet. It's very hard to keep feeling like, oh, I'm really something. Don't you know who I am? Yeah, I'm the toilet cleaner. So all of that literally bows down. So that's one element of it. It's a great humbler. And even in places, for example, like here, where we're not putting people on the job of cleaning toilets or scrubbing the floors, nonetheless, it's still a matter of doing not what you decide I want to do today, what's going to be, on my list, but it's a matter of what is needed, what is in service. Not, don't you know who I am? A lot of people ask me sometimes, they'll say, so what exactly do you do here? Like, what exactly is your role? And it's always a sweet question because I try to avoid roles at all costs. So the more you try to avoid something, the more people come and are like, so what is your role? And what I've realized over the years is my role, and not just mine, but all of ours in seva. The role is to share and spread love and peace. Right? When you think when you think that your role is you are the teacher, or you are the leader, or you are the doctor, or you are the driver, whatever role you think, this is what I do, then you're stuck. Because then you've identified the who you are with the what you are doing at this present moment, in this particular scene of this particular act of the divine drama. And this is where it's so critical to realize now, what I am is a sharer and spreader of love and peace. Just for a moment, we're going to have to ask everyone to please put your masks on fully, if you can. We're now in a close situation, so just if people can keep the masks on. Thank you so much. And again, sorry for that. We pray that soon it no longer will be a requirement, but it seems these days it's getting more of a need rather than less of a need. So we recognize, okay, at this moment, my role in this drama, this scene of this act of the divine God's drama, what we call a Leela, is I'm the one through whom this is happening, or that is happening, or this is happening. But whatever is needed at the moment, I do it. I think, for example, one of the beautiful sevas that the ashram does is we run free medical camps. Eye care camps, orthopedic camps, pediatric camps, depending on which doctors we have who are excited to be providing seva. And I think sometimes, let's say that one day somebody came in to register his mom or his grandmother or his child for the medical camp. But at the exact moment that the guy wandered into the reception, no one was there. And so, accidentally, or just kind of looking for the right place to go, he wanders into my office. Now, if I were stuck, I would say, what I do, I give spiritual discourses. I give satsang. I teach meditation. Sit here, I'll teach you to meditate. Or I'll give you a lecture. But what this guy needs, maybe he's just traveled for 3 days from some other part of the country, part of the way on a bullock cart, part of the way walking, part of the way jammed in, an auto rickshaw or a jeep, who knows? Because his mom needs treatment and we're offering it for free and he can't afford it any other way. But he hasn't had a shower and he hasn't had a meal and he hasn't slept in 3 days. So it would be ridiculous, bordering on criminal, for me to sit the guy down and try to give him some spiritual inspiration or some motivation or to teach him to meditate. What the guy needs is a room and a bath and a hot meal and to get his mom registered for the medical camp. And only then, after that, would it make sense to say, by the way, we also have this beautiful Ganga Aarti. We also have Satsang. We also have meditation and yoga. But first things first. But you see where, if I were stuck, I would be unable to attend to what was needed in the moment. What's needed is for me to pick up the phone and get on the phone with whoever is taking registrations for the camp and to say, hey, I've got someone in my office, can you come and register him? And then to call someone in a different office and to say, hey, I've got a guy in my office who needs a room. Can you take care of him? And so what seva does, when we're able to see it like that, when we're able to see it as just whatever is needed, let me be the vehicle, let me be the instrument, the tool of service, of sharing love, of peace, of divine flow, then I'm not stuck. Then it's not what I do. Otherwise, it's like, as they say, when you're a hammer, everything looks like a nail. Well, so if you're a spiritual teacher, then suddenly everyone is a student. But sometimes, more than being a student, someone's a patient. And they need medical care more than they need motivation or inspiration or guidance or vision. And to not be blind to that because we are so stuck in what we think we do. Or, I manage accounts, let's say. Or I manage reservations, let's say. Okay, well, what about when someone has slipped and fallen and they're injured, and what they need is ice, or they need a doctor, or when someone is hungry and they need a hot meal? The point of seva is we do everything, whatever's needed. And that's where that ego gets purified. And that's why seva is seen as spiritual practice. Volunteer work is something that's very beautiful to do. All over the world, people volunteer. And we should. But the difference between volunteer work and seva is volunteer work is much more rooted in the who I'm taking care of. It's children, it's animals, it's sick people, it's the dolphins, it's the whales, it's the trees. Whereas seva is rooted in my spiritual practice. And when I serve, who I am changes. Volunteer work is great. We should do it. But if you can do seva, if you can do that volunteering as seva, make it about your spiritual practice rather than about what you are doing for others. Otherwise, the ego gets very stuck. I'm the doer. I'm the one fixing people. I'm the doctor. I'm the surgeon. I'm the this. I'm the that. Then it's all about me. They're helped. That's great. That's why I say we should do it anyway. But I haven't grown spiritually. Seva is something that does both. It helps others. But I grow spiritually through it. And that's where it's a very, very powerful spiritual practice. Because it clears that windshield between us and the truth of who we are. Between us and that capital S self, which includes all. So when I'm connected to the capital S self, I'm not serving others, I'm serving myself, my capital S self. The children who are hungry, the people who are sick, the trees being cut down, the rivers being polluted. They are me. And just as when I'm hungry I eat, or I'm thirsty I drink, or my knee itches I scratch it, in the same way, I'm serving them as self. And we serve ourselves in so many ways. There's so many ways to take care of my physical body. In the same way, there's an unlimited number of ways that we are serving that capital S self in the form of all of those around us. And that's what seva gives us, that gift of experiencing the extended, expanded sense of self. Beautiful. Learning and unlearning. Well, first we need to unlearn. The dilemma with learning before we unlearn is that I'm just sticking more and more stuff on top of that which is not self. Now, sometimes learning helps me unlearn, like light dispels the darkness. So sometimes if there's darkness, more than pushing out the darkness, what you need is just to light a candle. And in the same way, sometimes, in order to unlearn, in order to remove ignorance, all we need is light and wisdom. I think about it very much as in, say you come home from office, or from whatever you do in the day, and you're stressed and you're tired, and you decide you're going to go for a bath. Okay? Now, in order to make that bath something that's very relaxing, that actually relaxes the body, well, first you've got to take all your clothes off, right? If you get into that bathtub with all your clothes on, it's not going to feel very relaxing, right? The minute your wool sweater gets full of water and your shoes are full of water and your tie is full of water, you're not going to be relaxed. You're going to feel like you're suffocating. So in order for that bath to be relaxing, you need to get naked. On a deeper level, in order for us to experience that truth of who we are, that on a spiritual level, we have to let go of that which isn't self. Like I have to take the clothes that are covering my naked body off in order to experience the benefit of the bath. I have to take off these false identities, take off the ignorance, take off the illusion in order to experience the truth. And that's how when we talk about enlightenment, well, it's the light that burns through the darkness of ignorance. So I have unlearned the ignorance. Say I move through the world thinking who I am is this body. So you say to me, who are you? And I say, well, I'm Sadhvi Bhagavati Saraswati, and I'm 50 years old, and I'm a sannyasi. I'm from the United States originally, but I have lived in India 25 years, and I'm the author of these books, and I'm this role in this organization, or this role in that organization. Well, that's ignorance. Okay? All of it. That's just the description of the role that I'm playing at this intersection of time and space. It's like when actors or actresses get given roles. They talk about the treatment of a character, right? So if I'm going to play a role, the director or the producer or the writer will give me a short write-up. This is your character. They're this many years old. They come from this place. They have this many brothers or sisters. These are their problems. So that I know, oh, okay, so my character has an anger problem. So I understand when I come on that stage, I should be kind of angry. But that isn't the truth of who I am. That's just kind of a made-up treatment of a character that I'm playing. A role that I'm playing on this particular stage. Maybe last week I played a different character on a different stage. So my character is all those things I told you. But that isn't who I am. And the moment that I actually have an experience of who I am, through meditation, through grace, through prayer, well, suddenly all of that illusion, it fizzles away. You realize, oh, that's not who I am. So you unlearn that which you had learned as you begin to learn something new. That's on the very deepest level of learning about the self. But it also happens on other levels, just as we are moving through our world. So for example, I had spent most of my life thinking that really everything was kind of about me. That it was really just all about me and, what grades I would get in school and how I would do on this team or whether I would get elected, this in school or get that post or who my friends were or what college I was going to get into or what my troubles were, what my struggles were. I thought it was all about me. And then when I came to India and I had this very powerful spiritual transformative experience and I started to live here under the grace of my Guru, Puja Swamiji, I realized, oh my God, it's not actually all about me. It's actually all about how much I can serve. As he says, not asking what for me, but asking what through me. So it's an unlearning of a way that I have always lived, had always thought things should be. And then a relearning of, wow, real joy. I had thought I was happy because I had the things that one needed to be happy. But what I realized here was, oh my God, I wasn't really happy. Because now I've learned what real happiness is. I've experienced it. And that it doesn't come from having those things. But that it comes from being connected to the divine. So we unlearn that which is untruth. And sometimes, of course, it can happen through books, but it's much more powerful when it happens in experience. But inspiring books help put us on the right path. They show us the way. But ultimately that knowledge for which I don't have the actual experience isn't going to serve me nearly as well as that which I experience myself. So I remember, tell you a personal story about this. I remember the very first time I was in Puja Swamiji's presence. Now, I was born and raised in the Jewish tradition. And in the Jewish tradition, well, in the Christian tradition, it's believed that Jesus Christ is an embodiment of God, right? The Son of God, but then, of course, the Son of God, but then he says, my Father and I are one. So, embodiment, son of, either way. In the Jewish tradition, we don't actually believe that God is manifest in form, any form. And in fact, the idea of worshiping the divine in form is considered sacrilegious. And I was 25, I wasn't even religious, I had never questioned these things. Is that okay? When I was in Puja Swamiji's presence the first time, I was so aware that I was in the presence of a being who was qualitatively different than any being in whose presence I had ever been. And that difference was that I felt like I was sitting in the presence of the divine. And of course, in that presence of the divine, in Pujya Swamiji's presence, that was an experience. Now, the truth of that experience was much more powerful than what I had been taught. And it was a very transformational moment for me because I realized, oh my God, I'm having an experience that goes completely against what I was taught, what I believed, which means maybe it's only a matter of time before everything I've ever been taught I have an experience that makes me realize isn't true. And it was such a beautiful moment because what it did was it actually wiped my entire slate clean. They talk about tabula rasa, this clean slate. And I really was that. Just automatically I realized, my God, here I've learned all of this. And then yet here I am having an experience that is the exact opposite of what I had learned. So it was like in a moment I unlearned it. And in that unlearning, I became this empty vessel to suddenly then start to learn about the presence of God on earth. So yeah, unlearning and then learning are critical. Otherwise we're stuck.
Jai Jai Radha Raman, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Jai Jai Radha Raman, Hari Bol. Govinda bolo, Hari Gopal bolo. Govinda bolo, Hari Gopal bolo. Raman, Hari Govinda bolo. Radha Raman, Hari Govinda bolo. Radhe 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 Krishna 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 Radhe Krishna 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 सबसे ऊंची प्रेम सगाई सबसे ऊंची प्रेम सगाई सबसे ऊंची प्रेम सगाई सबसे ऊंची प्रेम सगाई दुर्योधन को मेवा त्याग दुर्योधन को मेवा त्याग सागर में दुर्धर ताई सबसे ऊंची प्रेम जय मां गंगे गंगे जय मां गंगे गंगे जय मां गंगे गंगे जय मां गंगे हो जय मां गंगे हो जय मां गंगे जय मां गंगे जय मां गंगे हो जय मां गंगे जय मां गंगे गंगे जय मां गंगे गंगे जय मां गंगे हो जय मां गंगे जय मां गंगे जय मां गंगे जय मां गंगे हो हर हर गंगे हर हर गंगे हर हर गंगे हर हर गंगे हो हर हर गंगे हर हर गंगे हर हर गंगे हो हर हर गंगे
ओम जय गंगे माता मैया जय गंगे माता
जो नर तुमको ध्याता जो नर मैया जी को ध्याता मन वांछित फल पाता ओम जय गंगे माता
चंद्र सी ज्योति तुम्हारी जल निर्मल आता
ओ मैया जल निर्मल आता शरण पड़े जो तेरी शरण पड़े जो तेरी सोनर कर जाता ओम जय गंगे माता
एक ही बार जो तेरी शरणागति आता
ओ मैया शरणागति आता यम के त्रास मिटा कर यम के कष्ट मिटा कर परम गति
पाता ओम जय गंगे माता मंगलकारिणी मैया तू है सुखदाता
ओ मैया तू है सुखदाता तेरी गोद में आकर तेरी शरण में आकर मन शांति पाता ओ जय गंगे माता
आरती मात तुम्हारी जो जन नित गाता
ओ मैया प्रेम सहित गाता दास वही है सहज में भक्त वही है सहज में मुक्ति को पाता ओम जय गंगे माता ओम जय गंगे माता ओ मैया जय गंगे माता जो नर तुमको ध्याता जो नर मैया जी को ध्याता मन वांछित फल जय राधा रमण हरि बोल, जय राधा रमण हरि बोल, जय 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 जय राधा रमण, जय जय राधा रमण, जय जय राधा रमण हरि बोल, जय जय राधा रमण, जय जय राधा रमण, जय जय राधा रमण हरि बोल, जय जय राधा रमण हरि बोल, जय जय राधा रमण हरि बोल, जय राधा रमण हरि बोल, जय जय राधा रमण हरि बोल, जय जय राधा जय जय राधा जय जय राधा हरि बोल, जय जय राधा जय राधा हरि बोल, जय जय राधा हरि बोल, जय जय राधा रमण हरि बोल,